Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all had a great lunch. Just don't sleep on me now. It's kind of dim. The lights are dim. Anyways, I'm going to talk about entrepreneurship and why it's never too early. So it's targeted more towards the younger crowd, the high school students. But the older crowd, it's not too late. You still can do something about it. So nothing to worry. So this is me. My name is Tukan. It does rhyme with a bird, I hear. And I'm the CEO and co-founder of a startup that I started with three of my friends a year ago called LeadSift. And I had no idea the analogy came that was if Twitter had a child with Kijiji and eBay. It's a very interesting way of pitching the product. I wouldn't recommend pitching that to the investors. Anyways, so how many of you folks here know of any of these companies or heard of any of them? They're Keep, Gumroad, Snapcaps, App Hero, Hallway, Sumly. Anyone? No, that hurts. So there's one thing common in all of these companies that are listed here. Each one of these companies are valued at over $5 million US currently. A couple of them are valued more than $100 million. There's another thing common in all of these six companies. Any guesses? They're all founded by teenagers, people who look like you, not like me. They're way younger than I am. They all started their companies when they were under 18. Nick D'Alessio, you might have heard of him in the news. He just sold his company to Yahoo earlier this year for $30 million, and he's 16. Brian Wong and Sahil Lavingia, they're both in California, but one of them is Canadian. One person is working on disrupting the whole ad tech space. The other person is working on changing how payments are made online. Both of them are very, very fundamentally important and big problems. All of this while they're in their teens, like you. So when the TEDx folks asked me to give a talk at this event, and the topic, the theme is something new and innovative, and I'm like, oh boy, are you sure you want me to talk about it? Because I don't think I'm qualified enough or talented enough as half of the people here that performed or are speaking to talk about something new and innovative, and especially looking at Connor play, it's scary. But anyways, and then I started thinking, what is one thing that's been bothering me for the last year since I started LeadSift? And that one thing that keeps on bothering me every single day, I would say, is why didn't I start it earlier? Why did I wait so long? So then I thought, well, you know what? This would be a great opportunity to tell you folks, everyone here, that entrepreneurship is #awesome. And I knew it would resonate with the folks here. And it's never too early to do it, right? So I have a very specific goal here. I want to tell about entrepreneurship and the ringside view that I get of being an entrepreneur. And I hope some of you guys will go home and dust off some of the projects that you always wanted to kind of do, the side business, the cool idea that you had but never got time. I want some of you guys who had those ideas to go back home and get started on it. So that's my goal. I have a very, very specific goal, and I'm going to measure myself 6 months from now. So with a raise of hands, are there any entrepreneurs out there? And by entrepreneur, I don't mean someone who's building the next Google or Facebook or Snapchat. Anyone who's thinking of doing? Cool. About 4 people. That hurts. But that's okay. I'm kidding. So the first question that would come to someone's mind when I say about entrepreneurship is, why do I care? Especially the high school students, right? You're going, you know what? I have to worry about my exams, getting good grades, applying for university, prom, dates, parents. I have a lot of things to worry about. Why the hell should I worry about entrepreneurship, starting up my own ID, business, my venture? Well, you have a point. But there are certain very specific gains that you can get out of it becoming an entrepreneur. I'm going to talk about a few of them to you. First thing, learning. The learnings that you get from being an entrepreneur, starting your own business is tremendous. I can guarantee you there is no degree, there's no formal certification that can give you this much learning in such a short time than running your own business, than running your own venture. As an example, I think the folks that are organizing, there's a group of people that are organizing this event, right? You can think of this as a mini venture. After a day from today, ask them how much they learned about a lot of other things just by organizing this event. So the learnings from being an entrepreneur is tremendous. Networking. And by networking, I don't mean putting cables together. What I mean by networking is knowing people, is building your network of people. There's a saying that says, it doesn't matter what you know, but who you know. It's true. Once you graduate out of high school, go to university and get into the workforce, you will hear this word a lot. It's build your network, know more people, connect with the right people. And believe me, it is extremely important to know the right people and network with them. Being an entrepreneur, the way you expedite the process of expanding your network is insane. You get to know people that you have heard of, you have read books from, but being an entrepreneur allows you that opportunity to get in front of them, talk to them, learn from them. Third, follow your passion. Being an entrepreneur allows you the opportunity to work every single day of your life on something that you care about. I'm actually willing to bet $100. Maybe that's a bit too much for a struggling entrepreneur. Or like 10. I'm willing to bet $10 that you will never ever find a single entrepreneur or a founder who will ever use the word TGIF. They'll never use it. They'll never ever say Monday morning blues. Never. You know why? Because they love what they do. And when you love what you do, it's not work. You're not bored with it. You're always looking forward to go to it, right? So those are some of the things that you get by being an entrepreneur. This is another thing that I realized in the past year. Entrepreneurship actually makes you a better person. And I have read a lot of entrepreneurship books, blogs, articles, talked to a lot of people. I actually don't see too many people talk about this, that it actually makes you a better person. Forget being smarter, knowing more people, learning, raising money. Forget everything. It actually makes you a better human being. And I have listed some of the attributes, how it actually made me a better person. I think every entrepreneur would agree with this, is you spend more time with your teammates and co-founders than you spend with your family when you're building a business. That's the fact. And when you're spending so much time in a closed room, working on a project, you have to be a team player, right? So that's the first skill set that you learn when you're doing entrepreneurship. You have to learn it or you're no good. Next thing, you have to work hard. And I mean really work hard. I mean hustle your face off working hard. It is really hard. So there, you learn not to take shortcuts. You learn to put in the hours to get the output. So that's another thing that entrepreneurship teaches you. Third thing, you become respectful. You respect your teammates' opinion. You respect every stakeholder of the company's opinion, and you learn to sink it in and then make the right decision. So you become respectful. Fourth thing, you become fearless. Being a tiny startup from Atlantic Canada and going after the big guns, you have to be fearless, right? I mean, anyone who's starting a business here, when you're competing in the global field, right? You're not competing in Nova Scotia. You're not competing in Atlantic Canada. You're competing in the global stage. You have to be fearless going against the Googles and the Salesforces and the Yahoos of the world. That's a great skill to have for a human being, leave aside an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurship definitely helps you become fearless. Third thing, rationale. A lot of the times we make decisions purely based on emotion. We get emotional about something, passionate about something, and then we're like, we're going to do this. I don't care what you tell me. In entrepreneurship, one thing you have to learn very quickly is you have to take everyone's opinion into account and still under tremendous pressure, make the right decision. That's a great skill to have, again, in a human being. So if you look at all these 5 attributes, and there are probably 50 more, Entrepreneurship actually makes you a better person. Forget what you learn, what the network you build, passion. It just makes you a better person in general. And that's what happened to me at least in the past year. I don't know if my co-founders agree or not. Anyways, so why now? Some of you are thinking probably I can do this later. I can go to school and I can graduate and work for 10 years and then start it. Sure, you can do that. But there are very strong reasons for you to do it right now. First of all, you may probably not know this, but at your age, your mind is extremely brilliant and sharp. And you can think in ways that after 10 to 15 years of working in a corporate environment, your brain doesn't work that way. You learn to abide by the rules. There's structure around you and you tend to follow that. You are scared of taking that extra step. And finally, there are a lot of other stakeholders in your life. You have family, you have house, you have kids. A lot of things you have that you have to take care of when you're older. At this age, there's nothing to worry about. And there's so little to lose, right? Keep one thing in mind. The rules have changed. Heck, there are no rules in entrepreneurship. You make your own rules. And that's awesome. At this age, you can do that. With the invention of internet and the easy access to computers and information and all the open source software, it's never been easier to start up your own company ever in the history, right? It's awesome. The other thing that a business needs is this support network, an ecosystem that supports entrepreneurship. For that, you need a mentor network, you need guides, and you need investors. I'll talk about a few of the local initiatives that are going on. I don't know how many of you guys know of this. There's this thing called Volta. There's Launch 36. There's Innova Corp. There's ACOA. And all these organizations' goal is only one thing, is to help young entrepreneurs get started. Actually, not young entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs of all age. Get started. Period. No bureaucracy. That's all they care about. This is interesting shift happening where big, famous founders of other companies are reaching out to high school students to help them start their new business. Ryan Holmes of Hootsuite has this thing called Next Big Thing in Vancouver, which is specifically targeted to high school students to help them get started on their new idea. They're going to fund them. They're going to support them. They're going to help them with the networking, everything for high school students. Peter Thiel, he's the co-founder of PayPal and the first investor in Facebook. Extremely wealthy and very smart person. He has this thing called Thiel Fellowship Program, where every year he chooses 20 students to build their idea, and he gives them $100,000 on just a solid idea. No product, no validation, no revenue. He will give you $100,000. There's one catch. You have to drop out of school. It's a bit extreme, but you get the point. So there are the support networks. There's a shift happening where they want this young age, that the entrepreneurship to start at this age, not when you're 30 or 35 or 40, when you're 16, when you're 18, because you're good enough to compete with them, believe me. And finally, Dalhousie University, they have this interesting program called Starting Lean, where basically for 4 months, you come up with an idea, you go through this program, you get to validate your idea, they help you talk to mentors, find out if what you are proposing makes sense, and at the end of the term, you graduate out of it. Most of the times with funding and investment opportunities. So I know some of you guys are thinking of going to school in here and thinking of choosing which university. The choice is pretty simple. I'm a Dal grad. No, I'm kidding. And the best thing is you can build and validate your idea in under $1,000 and in less than 6 months. You probably won't be able to build a successful business, but you can validate your idea. What I mean by validating your idea is you build a proof of concept and you take it to the market and you realize if it's worth pursuing it or not. And it can be done in less than six months and $1,000. And you know what's the best thing about this? You don't have to build a tech startup. You don't have to build a Facebook. You don't have to build the Google or the next Snapchat. It can be anything. An entrepreneur can come in any shape or form. I'll give you an example. When I saw Connor play, he's an entrepreneur. He's doing his own thing. I would actually say that's a perfect startup business that he can try out, is build those custom made drums that he made out of buckets and chairs and pot, right? That's a great example. So whenever someone tells you entrepreneurship, don't think you have to be the next Mark Zuckerberg or Sergey Brin or Bill Gates. You can do many things. You can build an app that you put it on your skateboard that tracks how awesome the flips you are making. You can build a clothing line designed by students and for students, right? That's not a tech startup. You can do many things, right? So don't think that you have to build a tech company. You have to build an IT company. It's really broad. You can work on anything and still you're an entrepreneur and you're starting your own venture. The key is starting it. What's the worst that can happen? Stats show in North America, 90% of the startups that start up fail. That's a known fact, and year over year, that number has been consistent. So the worst thing that can happen to any entrepreneur, you, me, anyone, you'll fail. Your startup, after a period of X months, will shut down. Big deal. You know why? Because after and I'm not even talking about the learnings and everything that you do. Pragmatically speaking, from an employer's perspective, you're way, way more attractive to an employer after running a startup, and whether it worked or didn't work, than with having a 4.0 GPA. It doesn't matter. So your chance of getting a job quadrupled just because you took the step to do your own thing. How can you do it? I know there are parents in the crowd, and I talked about Teal Fellowship. You do not have to drop out of school to do this. So no worries there, right? So first thing you need to do is you need to have an idea that solves a real problem for a big enough group of people. That's it. That solves a real problem for a big enough group of people. And if you're passionate about it, you're set. That's all you need. A real problem for a big enough group of people and you being passionate about it. Those are the three things that you need to start a business. That's it. And that problem can be anything. Can be any problem. If it's solving a big group's problem, you're set. That's your idea. Go execute on it. What you can do, there's a great local community support here. There's more than you expect. Come talk to me. I will introduce you to all the local folks. There's a bunch of local folks that want to help startups and entrepreneurs of all age. There's one possible way of looking at it. You can do an internship. You don't have to start up your own company right away. Go work for a startup first to get a better hang of it. You can definitely do that. I'll quickly go over some of my experiences. I started in 2004. I was in the second year of my university. I just dated myself now. I started a company an idea called Dalhousie. Didn't work. It was a news aggregator. The reason it didn't work is we could not set up a web server. Pathetic. So lesson learned. Next company I start, next idea that I have, I'll have a sysadmin in my team. 2007, we wanted to build this site like Reddit. It's called No Really. And we had a part-time friend who was helping me with the sysadmin stuff. But what happened is he set up the server and it was running for a week. And my roommate, for some reason, he went to the server and reset every setting. So, our startup crashed right then. Lesson learned, don't have stupid roommates who poke with your server. Third thing, 2010, I took care of having a full-time sysadmin and I had the server in a garage locked away so that it was stupid proof. We had the idea, we built on it, didn't work. You know why? Because it wasn't solving a real problem for a big enough group of people. It was a cool thing, but it wasn't solving a real problem. It has a good ending to it because a lot of the work that we do at LeadSift originated from Tukan, so it's all good. So, few things that I learned: have a strong team. Those are three of my co-founders, Satyam, Srijata, and Daniel. Some of them I met at university, some of them I met at junior high. It is absolutely imperative to have a strong team. And if I may add to this, is there aren't too many female founders in startups or female entrepreneurs, and leave alone a tech company. I would highly recommend having a female founder in the team because not only do they add a different perspective, they're way more level-headed than us dudes. So having a girl definitely helps. Enjoy the journey. we tend to lose sight of the journey when we're thinking of the destination, because we're always thinking of ending this process. Enjoy the journey, because it's awesome. Set well-defined goals. Everything that you do, set well-defined goals. It can be small. Like my goal here, I set a goal that I want to inspire some of you guys to go ahead and do your thing, right? That's how startup has changed me. Everything is measured. It can't be all good, right? I mean, everything that I'm saying can't be all good. No, it's not. It's an emotional roller coaster. Half the day, I am the cheerleader of the team. I'm going, yeah, we're going to crush it. We're going to do awesome. The next moment, there's a bug in the system. A client doesn't renew. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be horrible, right? So the mood swings are of epic proportions. It is hard. It is incredibly hard. Someone best summarized a startup as, it's like falling out of a cliff and you are expected to build the plane on the way down. He wasn't exaggerating, right? Worry about money in the bank. It's a bad feeling. It's because you always have to worry about money. You have to pay your bills. You have to pay your employees' bills. So it's hard. But you know what? I do what I love. Every single day I wake up and I go to the office where I love hanging out with the people that I care about. And I'm doing something every single day that I love and I'm deeply passionate about. And that's all that matters. Thank you all.